Welcome to this FEI Beat the Heat episode about travelling horses to thermally challenging environments. In this video, we'll provide you with tips on trip preparation, equine transportation, and best practices upon arrival. Optimum travel conditions can make all the difference as they will reduce illness risks for your horse, which automatically leads to a better performance. So let's begin with travel preparation. First, plan to travel to thermally challenging environments at least 2 weeks before competition, especially if it involves a long-haul flight. If that is not possible, make sure you start the acclimatization process at home well before traveling. Start the journey with a healthy horse. Plan for a respiratory clinical check 2 to 3 weeks before traveling and treat your horse accordingly if necessary. This can prevent your horse from developing shipping fever. Don't change the diet of your horse just before travel in order to avoid colic. If there are restrictions on importing feed into the destination country and you need to adapt the diet, then do this at least 4 weeks in advance. If possible, import feed and forage from the destination country so your horse gets used to it well before travel. Prepare a checklist of all necessary equine travel and cooling items you will need. Before you set off on the journey, check your horse's temperature one last time. When possible, avoid traveling by road to the airport during hot hours. Traveling recommendations. Reducing stress by giving your horse a safe and healthy travel environment is paramount. Here are a few tips. Use low dust bedding or rubber. Also, make sure there is sufficient ventilation and your horse's head is not positioned too high in order to reduce respiratory problems. If any, use a light cotton sheet rather than a heavy rug. Remove surcingles and tail straps, as well as hind boots in the plane. Ideally, the temperature should be set at around 17 degrees Celsius. If it rises above 20 degrees, the pilot should be informed. Make sure your horse has free access to water throughout the journey. Reduce hard feed and concentrate, or replace them with mash and feed small amounts frequently. This allows for easier digestion. Make sure the container your horse is traveling in is clean and contains a familiar object. And finally, avoid creating unnecessary stress for your horse. Horses usually travel on planes without problems, but it's a tiring exercise for them. Regular health checks are necessary and usually carried out by flying grooms or veterinarians. Arrival best practices. The first few days at destination are crucial for your horse's well-being, and here is what you can do to help. After landing, your horse will be taken off the plane as soon as possible. Allow it to get its head down, walk around, and drink some water. When possible, give your horse half a day recovery for each hour spent in the plane, within a range of 3 days to 8 days. During that time, let your horse rest and avoid intense training in the heat. Perform a daily and close monitoring of your horse's clinical parameters, temperature, heart and respiratory rates, feed and water intake, as well as its overall behavior. Support the acclimatization process, which can take up to 2 weeks, by progressively increasing training in the heat, providing free access to water, and applying cooling techniques when necessary. Protect your horse from sunburn, especially if it's light-colored, by using sun-blocking fly sheets, fly masks, and sun-blocking products without fragrance on non-pigmented skin areas. Within 10 to 14 days, your horse should be fully acclimatized and ready to compete. If you know that you will not have enough time to acclimatize your horse on site, make sure you already start the acclimatization process at home, as explained in our Beat the Heat episode on horse preparation. So, travel safely and stay tuned for a complete coverage of all heat and humidity topics so that you can go beat that heat.